Hey, somebody needs to run some laps. You have? Excellent. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You are listening to The Professional Noticer. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Andrews. Hey, thank you for making me a part of your week. My purpose here today, with every show we do, is to play the part of a best friend or a coach. I want to help you live the life of your wildest dreams by giving you access to the greatest mentors the world has to offer today. Our sponsor this week is ITAM.org. That's IAITAM.org. They're the only global member-based training organization dedicated to meeting the needs of IT asset management professionals. ITAM is the only global training organization turning out IT asset managers that corporations immediately hire all over the world. So check them out. How would you like to complete an accredited online program and get a degree that is actually in huge demand? Okay, you're saying in huge demand by who? Well, just go to IAITAM.org and look through their client list. You'll see everyone from Sony Pictures to NASA to the United Nations. Google is one of ITAM's clients. Google, Yahoo, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple. These companies only hire the people that ITAM has trained, because ITAM offers the only accredited degree in the field. That's IAITAM.org. Observations and answers, that's what we do here on The Professional Noticer. And as you know it, we love it when somebody comes to the table with both. When you can get a helping of observations and answers, you really got something going on. And today, this is a first for The Professional Noticer, because we're bringing to you a guest who has a skill that I totally did not understand. Now, our guest today, you're going to meet him in just a minute, and I recently met him in Colorado. I met he and his wife through a mutual friend of ours, and so the mutual friend is Colonel Bill Larimore, and so our guest today, he was taking us trout fishing. We were going fishing, and so great guy. He's from Mississippi, so I was glad Polly wasn't there, because he and his wife are from Mississippi, and with Polly being from Mississippi, they would have never let us talk. But he's from Mississippi, so I thought that was very cool. And they have this beautiful log home out on top of a mountain out there in Colorado. And so we're having a great time with our guest today. Colonel Bill and I are. And then he says, our guest says something like, "Yeah, I need to get a hawk for the year." And we're like, "What?" And he said, "Well, I just got my falconry license here in Colorado, and I've had it for years in Mississippi. And so it's hunting season. And so I think I need to probably get a hawk." And, the colonel and I looked at each other and were like, where do you get a hawk? I mean, is there like a hawk store? I mean, I've seen this incredible sport of falconry, but in my mind, this is something that, well, I mean, in Saudi Arabia, they just sold one for $173,000. And so you get the idea that this sport is incredibly particular and takes forever to do. And so our guest said, "Yeah, I'm just going to catch one. I'm going to decide which one I want to catch, and we'll trap that one, and I'll have her, flying in several days." And Colonel Bill and I looked at each other like, we were in the back seat, and he couldn't see us, and we looked at each other like, this guy is totally full of it. You're gonna fly him in a couple of days? I mean, come on. And we did. We called him on that. We said, "Hey, seriously?" And he said, "Oh yeah." So I'm going to introduce him now. And I just want to say, I take back every thought I had about him trying to pull one over on us. I take back everything I thought, because I have now seen the videos. I mean, because he decided he's gonna video just to show the Colonel and me. Well, when I saw the videos, I said, he's got to join us on the Professional Noticer. This is just unbelievable. And so we have him here today. They built their home in Colorado from trees they had planted in Mississippi and been full-time residents for 4 to 5 years now. Dan and Stacy, please welcome Dan Ainsworth. Buddy,
hi there. Yeah.
I am so glad you're here. And I apologize for not believing you at first.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. I don't believe how it happens a lot of times. It's just it's nature at its best, and we just get to tag along.
Okay, so I just now, and we have some video that we'll be inserting in the show, but I just got to say, the first jaw-dropping thing for me, I mean, we have, and I'm going to ask you in a minute about trapping them. How do you do this? But I got to say it first, just to bait everybody. The jaw-dropping thing that I saw was 12 hours after you trapped this hawk, it was eating out of your hand.
Yeah. That's kind of hard to believe. You're not the only one that rolls their eyes when I tell people I've done that and everything, but it's just the way the red-tailed hawk's made. She already knows how to hunt. She's just got to get used to people. So that 12 hours is spent just kind of letting her know I'm not going to hurt her, and let her know I'm her friend, So there's things you do and don't do to get her used to you. One of the neat things that most people don't realize is when I first catch her, I put her ankles or Jesse's on, it's a leash.
Wait. Before you tell that, you got, how do you pick out the hawk you want to get and then know that you're going to, how do you trap it? And then tell us about after you get the bird.
Well, in this case, Stacy was riding with me, my wife, and we were riding around, and you just mainly look around, and they'll be on a light pole or in a tree, and you're looking for a red-tailed hawk, a young one. Well, a young one, the tail's not red yet. So that's how you can tell. You can look up, use binoculars or whatever, and the tail's barred with gray and white. It's not red. So I know it's a young one. So I saw a good one, and I was ready, and Stacy goes, that first one we saw, I like it. It's prettier. I want it. So I had to say, okay. So we turned around and go back. We're in Colorado. They're kind of migrating through. So you see them pretty often. There's a lot of hawks in this area, So we picked one. I like to pick one for falconry that's big. The bigger, the better. And a big one is usually a female. They have the bigger claws. They have better equipment to hunt with. Right. And just the interaction with a human. So that's how I pick out one. But you just ride around and look. And
we've got the video. You put the cage out that has a mouse in it.
Yeah.
And then what's on top of the cage?
Yeah, it's called a Balsha trap. That's how we say in Mississippi. I don't know the correct pronunciation, but that's what they use in Saudi Arabia. It's a little cage, and you put a pet mouse in it. He's not going to get hurt, but he's going to run around and around and around in that cage. Well, on top of this cage are snares made out of fishing line, so you can't see them. So I put a lot of snares on top of the trap, and then in this case, I had the GoPro camera hooked to the trap with it, where you could see what was going on and everything. So we ride around. There's the hawk. Click the camera on, throw the trap out, and then you've got a picture of what happens to it from there. But the hawk is designed. I'm using what it's good at. So you think about it. Sometimes I kind of teach people a lesson like that. Sometimes the devil uses what we're good at against us. Well, in this case, that hawk is very good at seeing things. So if I put a trap anywhere near her eyesight, she's going to jump on it, especially if she's hungry. And you'll see in the video, I'm sure, but this trap's made out of wire. She's going to literally try to tear it apart. I mean, they're hunters, they're predators. they're raptors. They're designed to kill and to go after it. So I'm using what she's good at to catch her. And then once I catch one, I decide, do I want this one? Do I want a bigger one? Or how does she handle? They all have a different personality. I found that out. I've been doing this.
How can you tell their personality, right? I mean, because you put the towel over their head at first.
Yeah. Well, one way you can tell, and we edited the video to save a little bit of time, but if I throw the trap, they're on it within 2 or 3 minutes. Now, if they're not, if she's up there.
You're putting a trap out and the hawk is on it in 2 to 3 minutes?
Yeah. Because if she's up there and it's 10 minutes later and that hawk's going, then she's lazy. I don't want her. Or either she may just be full. But there's how we figure. Or if I throw a trap out and she's shy of it, she may be a little too nervous. She may be a little bit too smart or whatever. I don't want that one. I want one that's really gung-ho,
Right.
Spunky is what I like to use, the word I use,
And so that's the personality that you're looking for?
That'll tell me to begin with. And then later on, as I start manning them or taming them, I'll find out this one's kind of a gentle bird. This one's kind of wicked. I had one bird named Tama. We talked about her, Tama, Tomahawk. But Native American Tama is thunder. And the best way to describe her was she was just wicked. I mean, she would let me man her and touch her and all that, everything. But when it came time to hunt, you better get out of her way. She's on it,
And you hunted squirrels with her, right?
Yeah. In Mississippi, it's more fun to hunt squirrels because it's in 3D. I mean, the tree and the squirrels above you, the hawks above you, you get to see everything. Like if it's in a briar patch for a rabbit, you'll just hear it go. And you don't really know what's going on. You just hear a little commotion, and then all of a sudden, it's over. But that's why the squirrel hunting is usually more fun.
And with the squirrels,
in Colorado, I don't.
The hawk is like juking and jiving around the tree while the squirrel's trying to stay on the other side of him.
Exactly. And that's is the thrill of the hunt is what's fun, but just seeing their acrobats, seeing them fly. Now, when Stacy goes with me, she roots for the squirrels. You're like, come on, squirrel, get away, get away. And I'm like, I'm rooting for the hawk, So, but anyhow, there's a lot of good little battles that go on between them and everything.
So you're figuring the personality.
Yeah. And this one was purty. According to Stacy, she says, this one's purty. I like her. So kind of got to go along with what Stacy's saying. We want a pretty one too, But she's going to be a good hunter. She's a good flyer.
What's her name?
Wachiwi. I've got a big into Native American language, Dakota, and that means dancing girl. And she got her name from when she got on the trap. A lot of times the bird will just hit the trap and just kind of be there. But Wachiwi did the dance. I mean, she was trying to get in there and everything. She got tangled in the snares, but she danced. So I named her Dancing Girl, and it's kind of stuck, So that's Wachiwi.
That is awesome. So what's that first 12 hours like to get to the point that she ate out of your hand in 12 hours?
Yeah. All right. So we trapped her probably 12 miles from the house from where I live. So caught her in the trap. You immediately put a coat or a blanket or something over them. All raptors, all birds of prey, think with their eyes, basically the way I like to say it. If you cover their eyes, they get calm, they relax. And actually, the studies, we could get into the scientific of it, but they think with their eyesight, which means when their eyesight's covered, they don't think anymore. That'd be fun if me and you was trying to go to sleep. We couldn't go to sleep. We'll just put something over us and we'd conk out,
Yeah, that would be
that's
good.
That's the way you do with her. So cover up. I put her Jessies on. It's just it's an anklet that you put on each foot and talon, and then a Jessie. Tie that to a leash, similar to a dog leash. All right. So then I immediately take her to the pen, and then that's when the manning starts. She's on my glove. She'll try to fly off every now and then, but she's kind of in fright. I mean, she's a little bit, nervous, scared, and she's clamped down on my glove. I mean, she's got her claws are big as my hand, and she'll just grab. So that's one way I know she's still, she hasn't tamed down yet. She's still nervous. And so I'll just kind of walk around and I'll sit down. But here's the trick. You never look at them. If you
Really?
look at them in the world that they're from, a hawk looks at a rabbit looks at a hawk, somebody's fixing to get eaten. Somebody's going to be a goner. So if I'm looking dead at her, if I'm just staring at her with my eyes, she's going to be staring back. It's on. One of us is fixing to get got, and that's what she's thinking. So if the hawk's right here, I'm just kind of, looking at my peripheral vision, just kind of watching her, but mainly listening to her feet and how strong she's clamped down and everything. Well, after a while, she'll kind of ease up, and I'm like, she's on my wrist, maybe trying to jump every now and then. And when she flies, she'll just kind of hang down, Well, I just pick her up, put her back on my wrist, and she'll stand there. Well, then I don't move. And then maybe a little while, I'll just kind of move a little bit, and then I'll move my head, and then I'll take my hat off. Just little bitty things for her to go, well, this is no big deal. I'm not too worried about it. And then when I see that she's relaxed, that's when I put some food in front of her. So what to do, right at their beak, they've got some little bitty feather whiskers. And so I'll tickle them or really kind of aggravate her and touch her with that piece of meat like this, and she'll bite at it. Well, if she bites it and it goes in her mouth, then I freeze. And you can look in her eyes. Actually, it's on video. You'll see her eyes go from fear, all of a sudden, hey, this tastes pretty good. What? This is food. And then the next one, I'll tickle her and she'll bite. That's when the process begins. I no longer touch her, but it's 2 inches from her. And then she'll reach over and bite it. Then it's 6 inches from her. Then it's a foot from her. And then she's on the, now I'm going to make her take a step to me. And then she takes a step, and then she will jump, and then there's 3 flaps of the wings. She's flying then, as far as she's concerned. I know what this game is. I know how this works. And so then you can put her on a long leash and fly her 30 yards. And then when the time comes that I've learned her weight, I'll talk about that a little bit. Then I take her off the leash. She's free to go if she wants to. And she can leave at any time, but she's like, that guy's got a chicken leg in his pocket. So I think I'll hang around because they pull a chicken leg out. And so she knows that. And that's the bond that we develop between me and this hawk.
So today, as we talk, this is the 21st day of Dancing Girl being with you.
Yeah.
And so at what point will you take the leash off?
It'd probably be this week sometime. The best way to determine that, I've gone through some steps. I've manned her to me. She's comfortable with me. Then I brought Stacy in. So there's 2 people. Then I brought 4 people in. And then I had a card. Then I had just all kind of different things that'll happen when we're in the real world to see if she's going to get distracted and fly off and everything. Right. And so far, she hadn't been bad. She was a little bit uncomfortable with the truck for some reason. I put the camera in the truck window one time and had her flying right to it, and she just kind of balked at that. But I guess she was just nervous. But here's how you decide. You weigh them, and you determine their hungry weight. Okay, she weighs 32 ounces. I mean, she's a big bird. I'm holding her this way, and her wings are still hitting me in the face. People look at a hawk and they go, man, they must weigh 10 pounds. 2 pounds. That's average size for a hawk and everything. So I weigh her at 32 ounces, and I watch her. And when I'm calling her, if I whistle, and she comes right on, that's a good sign. But if she's
because you started whistling every time you fed her, right?
Yeah. Every time there's a whistle, there's a piece of meat. So that clicks in her. It's all about being positive. You can't, like a hunting dog, you can kind of discipline them sometimes. But you don't discipline a hawk. They don't ever forget it. It's always positive. You can't say, oh, you did wrong, I'm going to punish you, or I'm going to give you discipline. Oh, it's positive. So every time she hears a whistle, here's a piece of meat. So when she does leave, and I didn't know where she goes, or I want her to come back in, I whistle, I better have a piece of meat, because if it's not there, she's going to go, hey, what's up here? This game's not being played like it used to be. Right. So that's the trick to it. So the weight, I watch her when she comes real quick, when she's fast. That tells me she's hungry. And the way I like to explain it is, I guess for your viewers out there, if I were to say, Andy, I want you to run out to the mailbox, run there as fast as you can and come back, and I'll give you a steak and baked potato. well, if you've already eaten breakfast or lunch, you go, no, I'm not really going to do that. And I said, well, that's all right. We'll just wait this afternoon. And me and you just hang around all day. We just walk around on the fist and we just get used to each other. You go, I'm hungry. I said, well, if you run out to the mailbox, I'll give you do it then. That's the same way with the hawk. So it's all about food. It's all about positive reinforcement. So her weight, sometimes I get it down to 31, 30 ounces. And boy, she's ready to go then. So that'll be what determines when I actually just turn her loose and go to hunting and flying and everything.
So
this one's kind of, it's taken a life of its own, Andy. A lot of people are interested in it. So I'm training her more to fly back and forth to people.
Right.
Because, grown folks and little kids alike, there's nothing like standing there and having this wild bird come and land on your hand,
Oh yeah, Colonel Bill, I got an email this morning about him having that experience yesterday at your house.
Yeah. He and his wife Cheryl, she flew to both of them, and so I'm training her to do that a little bit too. So it's a game to her. She's like, okay, fly back and forth. There's a different glove. I'm not. Where'd that glove come from? Well, there's food on it. I'm gone. So there she goes,
Wow.
So, but still, I whistle.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I whistle to go to Bill, or I whistle to go. So the hawk is, you just watch them. The hawk will teach you a lot more than any book can. To be a falconer, you have to be licensed. You have to have a permit from the Game and Fish, and you have to have a mentor sponsor for 2 years. So I had an older man sponsor years ago, and he said, I'm going to tell you what you need to do to learn how to be a falconer. Well, I thought he was going to sit down for 5 hours and talk with me. He said, one sentence, you just watch that bird. She'll tell you when she's hungry. She'll tell you when she's nervous. She'll tell you, you just notice what she's doing. And there's a lot of truth in that right there, So I don't know that I'm doing something that anybody else out there could do, but I just kind of pay attention to that hawk a little bit more than most people. Yeah.
So does Stacy go on hunts with you other than root for the squirrel?
Well, yeah. She likes to go on the hunts. I got to tell you about how that works too. The hawk, when Chewie or any red-tailed hawk with that big old claw, they don't stab the prey. So if she catches a squirrel way up in the top of the tree, we do what they call parachuting. She'll grab that squirrel and just kind of parachute straight to the ground. Well, if I get there quick enough, I'll take my blanket and I'll grab the squirrel. She's still got it in her talons. I'll grab the squirrel, cover it with a blanket. Remember, if they don't see it, it's no longer there. Pull out that chicken leg. She's like, oh, chicken leg. She'll jump on that chicken leg. I'll take the squirrel and put him behind my back. He'll run off and we'll come hunt him again the next day. So it's not all about the kill.
Oh my gosh.
It's about the hunt. That's what I tell everybody. It's about the hunt. It's watching this bird. She's being created to do what God's created her to do, and she's good at it, So yeah, everybody's going, what about the poor squirrel? I said, well, I think that one's on his third try. We've already let him go 3 times though. So yeah, it's just kind of funny, But sometimes amazing. The squirrels will outsmart her. They're pretty good at protecting themselves. So
within the week, so in less than a month, Dancing Girl will be flying free of a leash, free of tether, and so the bond that you have with them, has got to be very strong. I mean, obviously, it's more than just the food. They're trusting you. I mean, you're a living thing standing beside the food. But I still am just amazed at how quickly this process can happen.
Yeah. Well, it's a mystery, honestly. I don't know how she learns to trust me that quick. That's the big step, when she's flying to me and flying away from somebody. When she turns her back to me, I immediately know she trusts me now. She's showing me the back of her neck. A wild animal will never show you the back of their neck because that's the most vulnerable part of their body.
Right.
So she totally trusts me now, so then I know I can move on to the next stage. But to her, honestly, I'm a refrigerator. I don't think there's a love or affection like a dog with a human. But there is a connection. There is some kind of strong connection, some kind of strong bond when the time comes. They're so easy to train that I'll turn her loose probably at the end of sometime this winter. Now, I could keep her for years, but I just like knowing the idea that I can turn her loose and she's gone back to soaring up in the high clouds and doing her thing and everything. She'll still kind of remember me. I've turned one loose and a week later go, I just wonder. Hey, here they come, So
Really?
they're totally wild. They'll always be wild. They're not pets. That's why you have to get licensed. I want to stress that to everybody going, I'm going to go get me a hawk, So they're not pets. They can hurt you at times if you don't watch out, But the bond there is just incredible. And that people say, explain it to them. I go, it's strong. I don't know how you explain it, but it's a bird and a man. How do you explain, I'm a big Christian guy there. And how do you explain a bond between a God and a human?
Right.
It's difficult, but it's there. I know it's there. I can feel it just like I can feel this hawk when I go out to the pen to hunt her with her. As soon as I turn the corner, she's got that look, like, oh boy, here we go. It's time to hunt. So,
Wow.
Is there an affection? I don't know. I kind of want to say there is sometimes, but there is a strong bond between the man and the bird.
Well, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you being here
Oh, yeah.
with us. And I would love to do a follow-up on this, maybe toward the end of hunting season when,
Oh, yeah.
I would love to have you back on and let's see some video of her hunting. And that would just be great.
Yeah.
But we'd like to keep up. And so we'll have any contacts that you want to make with people. We'll have that in the show notes. And so people can follow you on Facebook or watch her. This will be great. But thank you so much, Dan, for joining us today.
Yeah. Oh, I enjoyed it.
See you soon.
See you.
I'm Andy Andrews, the professional noticer, harnessing common sense and wisdom to plow through challenges all the way to an answer for you. And I think that'll do it for this week. Get us out of here, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the boys and girls who aspire to become ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of another episode of The Professional Noticer. In a world where common sense has become a superpower, I'm harnessing the tiny bit of mental energy I have for you, seeking wisdom, making observations, and endeavoring to answer tough questions in a way that will empower your family and your business. I'm Andy Andrews. Until next week, goodbye. This episode of The Professional Noticer was produced by Matt Limpert. The Noticer theme written and performed by Sugarcane Jane. Live squirrels for the cast and crew provided by Twinkle and Smoke of Beverly Hills. Additional funding provided by Doesn'tThatSmellFamiliar.com. Do you want your living room or kitchen to have a lovely scent without the heaviness of an aerosol room deodorizer that uses a fog of gardenias? Here at Doesn'tThatSmellFamiliar.com, we understand that need. Our research engineers know the need for a home to have a recognizable scent to call its own. That's why they've developed aromas that can take you to another place, simply because they are so distinguishable. Yes, they're different, but that's what makes these fragrances so desirable. When a guest enters your home and takes a big whiff, they won't recognize the scent of a freshly mowed lawn that's just been rained on immediately, but they will say, "Gosh, doesn't that smell familiar?" Whatever fragrance you subscribe to, the popular scent of recently fried fish or the aroma of mentholatum ointment, you'll be pleased. And right now, with any year-long subscription of 2 or more fragrances, you'll receive 6 additional months of our most popular savory scent, Grandmother. Treat your home with love and pipe the smell of your grandmother into every room. Every visitor to your home will connect with the smell of their grandmother and love you for the memories. That's Doesn'tThatSmellFamiliar.com.